Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, welcome to episode 182 of Dude and a Monkey. I am one of your co-hosts, Mark Foster, and as ever, I am joined by...
Ian Loring, hello.
And this week, we are going to chat some Reacharound. We're going to check... Jack. I'm going to start again. We're going to chat Jack Reacher. The first film, we've decided to call that, so we're both going to watch it anyway, so why not? And also, we're going to chat the sequel or follow-up, Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. I still think it should have been called Reacharound, but but they didn't, and they won't, and it's wrong. But yeah, it's we're going to get jacked up in this shit. We're also going to chat some what we've been watching. I've actually remembered what I've been watching because I've started using Letterboxd again.
Nice, I need to catch up on mine, but I've got like 3 things anyway, so...
Yeah. I'm making a concerted effort now to use it because every week I sit down like 5 minutes before I record and go, shit, what have I watched? What have I watched? What have I watched? And every week we finish and I go, oh, fuck, I forgot to talk about that. And then it gets round to the week after, and there's no point in talking about the thing that I've forgotten, because I've kind of forgotten any points that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Last week I was thinking always in the podcast, there's something I've forgotten. And it wasn't until 10 minutes after we stopped recording, I thought, shit, I watched The Prestige.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so of course, what to say about that? So I've actually got a list now of what I've been watching. So talk about that. We've got a few Twitter questions, and we'll go off on our tangents, I am sure. But first, Ian, has anything happened in the wonderful world of movies that we should talk about before we get into trailers?
Donald Glover's Lando Calrissian, fine. That's fine. It does feel a bit like that would have been the hot casting of 5 years ago, but cool.
It feels like they sat down and went, like, let's make a list, and then somebody just went there and went, just give it to Donald Glover. No, they're going to just give it to him, because whoever else we give it to, they're going to go, oh, I think the Donald Glover would have been better. So let's just give it to him.
Yeah.
And then they've spent God knows how long trying to go, but who else can we put on the list? So eventually the guy at the end of the thing just went, fuck it, I'm announcing it. Because he'll do it. We know he'll do it. But I don't get it with him, to be honest. I don't get the appeal. I think I just don't get it. But a lot of Star Trek fans are very happy, and it's their property, so...
I'm sure Star Trek fans are thrilled.
Star Trek Star Wars, fucking hell, I'm looking. Oh, some people are not going to have that one. So, they're happy, that's the main fucking thing. It's better than being really happy with it than going, oh, who the fucking hell's this? Yeah, so there's that. AT&T are taking over Time Warner, which will mean nothing, probably.
Couldn't give a fuck, yeah.
But Time Warner have basically come out and said, it gives us more money to be more creative.
No,
and it's a bit like, I don't.
You just announced how many, was it 5 Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them films?
But Ian, remember, these are not Harry Potter movies. They're not Harry Potter movies. They're just basically set in the same world using the same music and the same goddamn title credits. But they are not Harry Potter movies.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, J.K. Rowling doing does give me some... It does give me some faith, because it's like, alright, she doesn't need the money. She's obviously interested in telling the story, and go on then, I'll watch the first one and see how it goes, but it's that whole thing of just plotting out this amount of films, and Hunger Games, it felt like Mockingjay Part 2, where it just kind of ended on a sense of, alright, well, we've got to do this, and Twilight did, and the Divergent films aren't even gonna finish.
Yeah. It is.
Which is
like
hilarious, by the way. I don't think we've even talked about that. That's fucking amazing.
It is mad, because the first one did quite well, and the second one did all right, and then they just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, they split up the last book into two films, and people already kind of didn't care when the second one came out, but that train was already rolling on the third one. But, I mean, like, for fans of the books, though, that's got to be infuriating. Like, the fact that they didn't just do the one. It's not like the Golden Compass or the Mortal Instruments. They did 3 of them, and then didn't bother doing one last one.
Yeah, like you say, for those who were fans of the books, and also there will have been, you know, granted there might not have been that many, but there were fans of the movies. It's got to be a bit of a fucking kick in the teeth. And like I say, it is strange saying at the start, before your first film's even out, oh, we're going to make 5 of these. It's a bit like, do you know what? What if it bombs? I mean, it probably won't, but what if it does? Or what if the first one makes a lot of money, but isn't that great?
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that it was that movie that made it money. And then the second one bombs. Then you sat there basically, you know, with these other 3 movies, having to look like dicks going, let's not bother.
Yeah, no, quite. I don't know. It's that's an interesting one. I mean, I suppose moving on, we've also got Tim Miller dropping out of Deadpool 2.
Over creative differences.
With
it would have
Ryan
been.
Reynolds, which
is the rumour, yeah. Which is quite amusing, because he put out a tweet saying, where should the final big finale of Deadpool 2 finish? A bridge, or B, a bridge.
Yeah.
And that's actually been deleted.
Who put that out?
Ryan Reynolds.
That's pretty funny. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting though. I mean, like, Miller had a really, really hard job, and he kind of worked for years on that. I mean, Reynolds and the screenwriters did as well, but it kind of was his baby, and they managed to make the film they wanted to make. And I'm sure Reynolds is on the Deadpool 2 is going to be the film I want to make thing. But it is still somewhat concerning. The choice of replacement is going to be interesting.
It is. I mean, the thing about that is it's strange, because Reynolds works a lot. You know, if you go look at his career, he's a 1 or 2 films a year guy. And, you know, you've never read sort of rumours of him being difficult or anything like that. And he's worked on small independent flicks, and he's worked on big, huge, big budget ones as well. And it just seems strange that this is one where, I think, like you mentioned it, there was nothing riding on the first one, really. Nobody expected it to be a hit. They had to really, realistically make about sort of $100, $120 million for it to be an actual hit. And they made so much more than that. So let's say the new one's going to cost, I think the first one cost about $40 million, which is nothing. Let's say the new one costs $150 million, right? You're still under $200 million for both movies, which means it's still, in theory, if you take them as a collective, it's still fucking making money. But as a director, is Tim Miller, can he take his ideas from there to where it was? Was it that the problem, or was the problem that they just didn't agree on the direction of the movie, or the casting of the movie, or anything? It is a peculiar one. It does worry and leave a little bit of a, you know, doing it so quickly was hoping that fucking lightning was still bouncing around that bottle, and now you've opened the bottle and you're trying to jam other bits of lightning in it at the same time, while going, fuck, we need to keep that bit of Ryan in there, because he's gonna, just you put your thumb there, I'm gonna run off and try and find someone, alright? And there's just a guy right now, with his thumb in it going, trying to keep everything together, and it could all just fucking crumble and fall apart right now.
Yeah, no, quite. I don't know. The thing is, I was so very, 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 very wrong about how Deadpool actually turned out in terms of box office. Like, the exact opposite. That I think I'm probably just not going to say anything, to be honest.
On this one.
Yeah. But, yeah. And I will just say quickly, I played through the campaign of Gears of War 4 on Xbox One, despite the fact I hadn't played any Gears of War games previously. It was alright. Runny, shooty, walk about a bit of dialogue, runny, shooty, did that for 8 hours, 10 minutes.
Oh, so the type of thing where the story's enough to get you to the end, but when you get to the end, it's kind of a little bit like, a bit same in that. Yeah,
I basically just thought I could have watched 4 films in that time and maybe rethink the whole thing. So who knows? Who knows, Mark? Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? I But sure, it was fine. I played some multiplayer with some people from work, and that was enjoyable. So yeah. But there you go. So I've got nothing more tangenty.
Cool.
So yeah.
Trailers then.
So I saw the trailer for the Boss Baby in front of Trolls, which I'll talk about later.
The Boss Baby. Right. Is that what it sounds like?
So basically, I'm actually kind of intrigued to see what the fuck is actually going on with this, so I think I'll probably take Lottie. But there's a kid with parents have a baby comes home, baby's got a suit, a tie and a briefcase, but acts like a baby. Kid's jealous.
The baby's voiced by Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. One night, the kid hears the baby, and then it's Alec Baldwin's voice, and the baby's basically saying, right, all you need to know is I'm the boss. But the thing is, in the phone call, he's like, the kid's on to me. So it's like, hang on. So is he actually a baby? Or, like, has he switched places with their actual baby? And he's not a baby? It was like, the kid's on to me was such a weird line. That I'm sure it's not that, because it wouldn't be, but that would be quite fun if it was that subversive.
For a kids movie, yeah.
Yeah, but like, because there's actually a bit in the trailer where the kid, the more grown up kid, says to his parents, he's wearing a briefcase and he's carrying a briefcase and he's got a suit. That's weird. And they're just like, well, you had your blanket blah blah for 5 years, and it's just like, well, no, hang on. You brought the kid home from the hospital and he's in a suit and tie. Did you not pick that for him? Because otherwise, yeah, that's weird. So that the Boss Baby trailer has left me with a lot of unanswered questions, which I feel I'm only going to get answered if I watch it.
So the trailer worked then? It's a genuine question. The trailer seems to work quite well then.
I kind of want to know what the fuck, and I will take Lottie.
Good.
So there's that.
That's it. You have to watch that trailer now.
Like, seriously, Mark, seriously, like, there's questions. There are questions. Anyway, new trailer for Assassin's Creed. I'll watch it. Comes out the 6th of January. Like,
yeah,
it's a nice
that's
post-Christmas thing, isn't it? So. Yeah,
and the thing is, none of the trailers make me want to watch it, but none of them make me think that it's going to be crap. I just look at it and go, do you know what? I was already going to watch it, so I don't need to watch the trailers because I'm not excited about it, but I'll watch it. I'm a bit like that with it.
Yeah. No,
it seems to be nobody around the film seems to be that excited about it.
I mean, fair play. Like, Fassbender produced it and whatnot, even though he said he didn't play the game. He'd played some of the games once he was on it, but didn't have any previous interest. And I don't know. It was interesting. 'Cause Ubisoft came out a couple of weeks back and went, "This is going to make no money for us, but at least it expands our brand." And it's like, that's a fucking weird thing to say,
isn't it?
So we'll see. We'll see.
That screams of, yeah, we've seen it. Shit.
Kinda. Yeah. So I don't know. Two others, but I know the one that you're going to want to talk about, so I'll let you lead with that. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The poster's interesting. And I like the tagline. I'm looking forward to seeing more, just because it was just a bunch of images and the one bit between Peter Quill and Drax, which was funny, but does kind of seem like, okay, so it's kind of similar to the interactions they had in the first one. Cool. But,
yeah, it is a little bit like, oh, I hope there's more than this.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. As a teaser, it's fine. I'm looking forward to being in that world again for a couple hours. So
yeah,
there's that. So I think I think I'm done. So go on then, bud. Please go ahead and have an orgasm.
Well. First of all, I'll do the other one that I've seen this week, which is the from the visionary director Gore Verbinski.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I did see this as well. Go on. Yeah.
Is the trailer for A Cure for Wellness, which looks interesting enough, and I'll certainly watch it. It's got a nice kind of sort of grimy. Who was that guy who did Delicatessen?
Jean-Pierre
City of Lost Children, yeah.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Jeunet, yeah. It looks a little bit like one of his movies. It's got that kind of that green hue behind it. Looks interesting, but I'm just getting a little bit this visionary director thing that seems to be cropping up in practically every fucking trailer nowadays is a little bit like, really? The director of Weatherman and the Pirates of the Caribbean first two movies? Visionary? Really?
The director of The Ring? Sure.
Yeah.
He had a horse jump off a boat.
Yeah, I don't think it's visionary, is it? It's a little bit like you're stretching the bounds of the word visionary there a little bit. So yeah, it's a strange one that, but yes, let's get to the main event.
Right, I just looked up The Ring on iTunes. The Ring 2 is available, but not The Ring.
That doesn't surprise me. iTunes is a bit random with some stuff.
But I mean, The Ring 2's only $4.99 as well. And like, if the original, the Verbinski, The Ring was $4.99 on iTunes, I would buy it and watch it this week because I've had a hankering to watch that again for a while. The Ring 2, I don't know if I have a hankering to watch that.
Do you know what? I have a feeling you could buy it for $4.99 and watch it and go, yeah, I didn't have a hankering to watch that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. Yes.
I have a weird hankering thing that I'll get to when I talk about my films that I watched this week later on, because there's a random flow to what I watched. Yes. So dropped on Thursday was the trailer for Logan. As we understand it, the final Hugh Jackman Wolverine film. And we already knew that it was going to be an R-rated movie. From sort of what was straight away sort of said about it. James Mangold is back on to direct, and they were already saying, look, it's going to be slightly more sedate and not as grand and as building destroying as the previous ones. And then the trailer drops, and he's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it is, whether or not the film takes on that tone or not, it remains to be seen. But this looks like we're getting a very sort of sedate, lower key X-Men movie, a Wolverine movie, where it's more about Logan's character, and he happens to be, Logan happens to be Wolverine, and we're getting the broken fucking man story of how he's this is it, this is the end of him struggling to cope with being who he is and all the things he's done, and he's still being chased, etc. So I thought it was an incredible trailer, to be honest. I finished, I went, yeah, I'm watching that again. That's for a fucking trailer.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I'm just looking it up, and it actually, the budget was slightly more than the Wolverine. But so I think this is probably going to have a lot larger scale stuff than this trailer makes it.
Well, that's it, yeah.
And I almost wonder if this isn't a trailer that'll actually play in the cinema. Just because I can see fans of film and fans of the property being well into it.
Yeah.
But your average multiplex audience will watch that and probably barely click that it's an X-Men film.
Yeah, because there's not a great deal that gives you X-Men-ness in it.
No, I mean, I am very, 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 very intrigued by this. And considering... Have you watched the extended edition of The Wolverine?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, that had a bit more of a contemplative edge to it as well.
It did, yeah. I still think that if you take away the hawkiness of the final kind of battle scene in that, I think that's a very strong movie, to be honest.
Yeah, the last act merges that film.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like the bit where I can't remember the fucking context, but it's like that snowy town, and he's getting like that speared and stuff.
Yeah.
That up to there, it's cracking.
It is it's a really good film to there, and then once they get into and you get the Iron Samurai thing guy comes out.
Yeah,
Silver Samurai, yeah.
It does drop off a cliff pretty badly. So, I don't know, it kind of feels like maybe they're just going, look, this is the last one. We will get audiences in just by saying it's the last time Jackman's going to play Wolverine. It's going to be the last one. This is genuinely, without a shadow of a doubt, it.
Yeah, and somebody raised a good point on Twitter. I know somebody raised a good point on Twitter. I think that kind of gives this a little bit more gravitas. Is really Hugh Jackman is our only Wolverine. He's the only Wolverine as a filmic audience that we've known, and he's been doing it for nearly 2 decades now. And so seeing him from the start of his Wolverine thing to seeing that now, and the way that he's grown as Wolverine, and the Wolverine effectively the character has grown older and taken it from Wolverine first turning up to where we are now. What happens there is you do feel a connection to it, rather than if you just dropped in, if you dropped a Wolverine, a new person in as old man Logan. There's that to it as well, which kind of adds to it. And I'm also interested in seeing Stephen Merchant as Caliban playing a non-comedic character. Could be quite interesting.
Was he the guy who was kind of like covered up? With the glasses on.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I figured that was him. All right.
What else is strange there is they've recast it because Caliban is in the X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guy that Olivia Munn's protecting, that sort of like that locates mutants.
Oh, that place.
Yeah,
really?
It's played by I think it's like a Norwegian actor or something like that. But yeah. So it was him. What's his name? I'm trying to find his name now. Icelandic actor it is. Thomas Lemarquez.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's strange that they've it's not strange that they've recast it, but they've recast it for Stephen Merchant, which is really interesting casting if that is a straight role.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, I mean the budget of the box office of the Wolverine was just over $400 million, and it kind of seems like this one is budgeted at 127 million. So if they could get to 400 again, they're in the black quite easily. And
I think they'll be very happy if they take 400 million.
Yeah, and I again, just the fact that it is the last time you'll see Hugh Jackman, I think they could get that. So what they actually do with the content of the film, and especially after Deadpool, meaning that they can do an R rating.
Yeah.
And also releasing it in March.
Yeah.
So you've got a less crowded release date, you've got the promise of an R rating, and certainly that one shot in the trailer does kind of indicate they're going there. And you've got this kind of stylishness to the trailer. I mean, her is not the least obvious choice.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as, for those who've seen Black Mirror, which we're going to talk about a bit on the show next week when Noel's on, the use of Radiohead's exit music for a film at the end of one of those episodes, that is an obvious music choice. So in context, I forgive this film the use of Hurt, but it also feels appropriate just in the lyrics and whatnot. It's not the choir doing a song sadly kind of thing.
No, it's not. You know this song, but not in this way.
Yeah.
It's very much. It's a statement thing. You know, you in a way you've kind of got our balls to pull up to go. Fuck it, we're using her.
Yeah, and then the large titles on the screen as well. I'm a massive fan of large titles.
You are. You do love a title across the screen.
We only talked about it on WhatsApp last night.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually about this either. About something else. But
honestly, whenever I see titles go all across the screen, I always think Ian's gonna fucking love that.
I don't know. There's something like seriously, man. If the title,
it's a style thing. Yeah, I can see why you like it.
If the title for Logan is just like blood red letters or something like that,
But just appear to just go
across the street, the screen, it's like instant at least a 4 out of 5. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just
guaranteed half a star.
Straight up. You know, I don't know. The trailer's really interesting. I mean, people have been going nuts for it online, and I think that's it's pretty warranted, really, isn't it? It's a really nice little self-contained piece as well.
Yeah, it's one of those where I have a feeling that the remaining movie won't be quite that movie that is pitching, but I do really want to watch that movie. And I can see myself, if it's not, coming out of the cinema and going, I'm just going to watch that trailer again.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm ready for what they seem to be doing with this, and it seems like it's going to be Patrick Stewart's last roll of the dice as well. And again, that's the thing. You say it's Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman's last one. Interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, like looking at IMDb, the synopsis of it: in 2024, mutant births are severely in decline, and people aren't sure why. A government-type operation is turning mutant children into killing machines. From this, Logan emerges as a mentor to a mutant girl who has 2 claws instead of his 3. That'll do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think we're done with trailers, aren't we? Shall we move on to the first Jack Reacher movie? Yes. We'll do it in that order. Not the fact that they don't follow each other, do they, really? But we might as well do. So the first Jack Reacher movie came out in 2012, so it's 4 years old. Based on the book One Shot by Lee Child, stars, directed and written by Christopher McQuarrie, which I believe was this his second film he made, or was it his first?
Blah, 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 blah. I believe, no, it would have been his second because
Way of the Gun.
Yeah.
That was it,
Way
of course.
the Gun, and then he did Rogue Nation after this, didn't he?
He did indeed do Rogue Nation, yes. And also, as well, let's not forget, he wrote The Usual Suspects, X-Men...
Apt Pupil? Did he do Apt Pupil?
I don't think... No, he didn't write the Apt Pupil. Bryan Singer wrote and directed...
Shit it off. Right, okay. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Chris McQuarrie was writer and director of this. Tom Cruise, Rosamund Pike, Richard Jennings, David O'Hellyer, Robert Duvall, and Werner Herzog, along with Jai Courtney in a role where he doesn't absorb all of the charisma from around him. Story is, Jack Reacher turns up after a ex-army sniper is arrested for shooting 5 people seemingly at random, and he doesn't speak to anybody. All he does is write on a pad saying, Get Jack Reacher. Everyone assumes that they're friends. Turns out they're not. No, Jack doesn't like this guy because he caught him investigating and proved that he'd killed a bunch of guys in Afghanistan, but was let go, essentially, due to circumstance, which we'll probably get into as we go through. And so he starts investigating as Rosamund Pike's lead investigator, because she is defending said killer, or presumed killer. And then things start to unravel, and we start to get a peek behind what could really be going on. So, Ian, Jack Reacher, what did you think of this one? I know we've spoke about it before, but go on.
So I enjoy Jack Reacher quite a bit. It's very, very nuts and bolts. But Werner Herzog, even though I think I really, really, really like the opening sequence.
Yes, it's a very nice opening sequence.
Yeah, just like, I don't know, the music feels very 70s. The kind of slow, gradual pace of it and the whole kind of like the tension as to is he going to kind of shoot the little girl kind of thing, it is, you know, it's got that Assault on Precinct 13 kind of vibe to it. I suppose it would be an easy a touch mark, but it's also very much the beginning of Dirty Harry. You know, if they kind of kicked in that slightly like jazzy kind of score, then I mean it probably would have been a step too far. But it's you know, but then it's Jack Reacher walking around places and women checking him out wherever he goes, or women smiling at him, and it's a little bit Cruise wanting to have his cake and eat it. Like he wants to be the tough, no shit, ex-military hard nut, but he also wants to be the guy who women check out and smile at.
Yep.
And that's one thing they do stop in the sequel. We'll get on to Never Go Back, but they do seem to have a lot less of that. But here, I mean, I don't know, like, Rosamund Pike looks like she's been directed at times just to look like she wants him. And, like, is kind of, like, flustered by him. And I don't know, it just feels a little off there. I mean, Tom Cruise is a good-looking dude, and, you know, he looks very good with his shirt off. You know, I'm not criticising that. It's just, he's a good-looking guy, but in Jack Reacher, I don't know, he also goes to, like, dive bars and stuff like that. He doesn't seem particularly classy, and I mean, maybe it's just the world that Cruise lives in. That it's like, yeah, women just look at me like this all the time.
Yeah,
why are they not? You know, I you know, so I it's a bit odd, but.
Or maybe they just literally just look at him and went, like, fuck, Tom's here, and Chris McCrory went, yeah, I'm gonna keep that in.
Yeah, no, quite. I don't know. It feels like a decision, and it's a weird one. But aside from that, it feels like very much its own film. It's a very singular thing, and it feels. Especially when you have never go back in comparison, it does feel like this is Christopher McQuarrie's film.
Yeah.
He's in command. He's got Cruise there as well, but this is his film, and he does even like the framing of the car chase where.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because you've got the opening, which. For a start off, this is a Tom Cruise movie that's rated 15 in the UK. I think it was an R rated in the States as well, wasn't it? No, sorry, Jack Reacher's show is an R. It was a 15, yeah.
That's interesting. All right.
Which already is interesting because it's technically having a 15 is always perceived as shrinking your market slightly. So yeah, it was a 15 in the UK. But this is it's a 15 movie. It feels like it should be a 15.
Yeah, sure.
And it, like you say, it does feel like more. This is a Christopher McQuarrie movie that Tom Cruise is on board with, rather than a Tom Cruise movie that he's letting Christopher McQuarrie direct. A little bit like the fifth Mission Impossible movies, which we both really liked.
Yeah.
But that does feel a little bit more like Tom Cruise has gone, do you know what? I liked working with this guy on this Jack Reacher movie. He's a good director. I like what he did. And we had fun working together. I want him to do my next Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, no, quite. It just... I don't know, there's interesting stuff there. Like the car chase, the way that Tom Cruise and David Oyelowo are like framed to the left. Their heads are to the left, and then you kind of see what's going on behind them on the right, which, I don't know, they hang on that stuff, and that's interesting. And the fact that the last sequence, you've got the action stuff, but then you've got talking, and that whole, the interaction between Cruise and Herzog there is fantastic. I mean, the Zek is amazing. And not just because it's Werner Herzog, like the way that he is just a guy who is in the shadows, and the way when you first see him, the guy's in like saying, I haven't seen you, man. And then Herzog's like, it's too late for that. Look at me. I mean, it's fantastic. But that whole air of mystery and the fact that, like, towards the end, he's just sat in the corner there and he's not really saying anything. And Jai Courtney's kind of doing his thing. It's like, what the fuck is their relationship? Jai Courtney and Werner Herzog. It's like, is it just his dad or something? Or, or...
It is literally like he's there and it's basically, you're there to do what he tells you and make sure he doesn't get killed. And he's a bit like, right. And it's almost a little bit like, towards the end, he's almost a little bit done with his bullshit, but he still knows what his job is.
No, totally, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And I like the way, I mean, Jai Courtney as well, I quite like him in this.
I think he's very good in this, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, very, very no-nonsense. And the way that when Cruise and Duvall have kind of fucked up all those guys, Courtney walks in, just gets the two other guys and walks out, and he's not like, shit, we're fucked or anything like that. He's like, right, still got this bloody job to do. You should get out of here. I'm off. I mean, that...
He displays the same confidence in his abilities as Cruise's Jack Reacher displays in his abilities.
And again, that's kind of carry forward in Never Go Back as well with the one guy. So, but
it's that of the whole, the whole military trained of just trained so well and trained to such a high level that these guys do think in a way that they're invincible.
Totally.
And it gives them that confidence. That's what Jack Reacher has. It's the fight scene where those guys take him outside and he's like, remember, you wanted this. And then you get the script is fantastic in this as well, because there's some great put downs in it, which is what was fantastic about Way of the Gun, McQuarrie's first film that I forgot about. That again, the script in that is magnificent. It's Benicio del Toro and Ryan Phillippe essentially just insulting everybody on screen. And that's kind of what you're getting a little bit here. Him explaining why he's only going to be fighting 3 of them and not 5 of them.
Oh, and then that's the 2 guys running off. Yeah, and that's great.
Yeah, kind of what starts to happen. It's those little fun bits poked at. Like, would you please put a shirt on? This is my shirt. It's just the ridiculousness of, well, all right, it kind of is his shirt.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I mean, like that stuff's great, and the way, again, it's weird the way that Cruise performs it. Is like half he's got a glint in his eye, half he's really serious. I don't know. It kind of feels like Cruise wanted to play Reacher more than Reacher wanted to be played by Cruise. Weirdly, it's.
Well, I think kind of that is it. That Cruise really did pursue and went for this, and was very much he wanted to be on board. Because remember, this is 2012. This is when Cruise was a little bit. He wasn't quite the Cruise he was in 2007, 2008. And he wasn't quite the Cruise that he is again. He's kind of managed to gain back again now. He was in a bit of a weird place where his movies were still making enough money that he was never really in trouble, but he wasn't the box office absolute gold that he previously kind of had been.
Yes.
There was very much people were trying to damage Cruise. And this kind of was one of the films that kind of helped get him back. Because I remember reading about this, and basically the word going into this was going to be a bomb.
Yeah.
And the reason why this movie, and for start, it was only a $60 million movie. The reason why this movie made a really good amount of money wasn't because it had Tom Cruise in it. It was because it was really quite a good film.
To be fair, the Christmas release date kind of helps as well. I just putting that out there, but
it will do. But it might have helped. But it also could have also at the same time could have killed it, because you're going up against big Christmas movies. Wasn't this going up against a Tarantino as well? Actually,
oh, it might have been Django. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it did well. I think based on the fact that there was a good word of mouth about it.
Yeah, I mean, it did 218 worldwide, which isn't spectacular, but when you're budgeting at 60 million, it becomes an awful lot better. Yeah. You know, God, what was Never Go Back? Never Go Back with 60 million as well. All right, fair enough. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's it. I mean, again, he's producing these as well, you know. So it may be he's like, all right, don't pay me too much up front. I'll take a good chunk off the back end or something like that, you know. But yeah, I again, he's very much his own man. He does the stuff that he wants to do, and I think Reacher as a character is more interesting than a lot of his characters. Like, he's more... God, could you imagine if it was Jack Reacher in a Mission Impossible type film? That would be a great combination, but he's got to be more playful in the Mission Impossible films, and I don't know,
he's quite deadpan in this particular one, yes. You know, but there is still humour in there, but I think it's more the humour comes from people reacting to his complete upfrontness.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not shit. The whole subplot about the like who's in on it kind of thing. They so aggressively peddle that it's Richard Jenkins that it does become obvious that it's David Oyelowo.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, they really, really aggressively push that. And the fact that they don't even try it at all with Oyelowo just is like, okay, well, it's Oyelowo then. Which is a shame. And even though but then it's little things as well, like the way that the thing that was off for Reacher all involves the parking meter. The fact that he paid for the parking meter in the first place, and then the fact that Oyelowo actually gets the fingerprint off of the parking meter coin. And like the way that it's like, that was way too in-depth even for me. I wouldn't have thought of that. You know, it's little things like that. So it's not the grand, oh, well, I knew it was you because of X, Y, and Z. It's something was off, and it was that.
Yeah.
You know, that's just little things like that. Again, I mean, like the ending of Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, the Gesundheit kind of almost comes to mind with me there, where it's just the one little slip up that unravels it. And maybe apologies for spoiling the end of Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3, but you should have watched it by now.
Yeah, because it is 30 odd years old.
Yeah, and
40 years old.
Nah, probably, yeah. Even though it's what's better, Gesundheit or Lick My Bunghole, motherfucker? There's a debate.
Yeah.
I couldn't, like... I think we've talked about this before on the show, but whose idea do you think that was?
I had no idea. No idea.
It's Travolta or Scott, isn't it? It's Travolta or Scott, and you just can't tell which one it was.
I think it's more likely to be Scott.
I hope it was Travolta, and it made Scott laugh, and he was like, yeah, go on then, we'll do a take of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what, though? What I'll say, I like the remake of Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3.
I did a fucking defending piece for Eat, Sleep, Live Film on that.
I remember it, actually, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm all for the remake of Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3. That was a very, very enjoyable print preview in my former job life. Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think I have much more to say about Jack Reacher, considering I've just talked about Lick My Bunghole.
I don't know. I'm definitely not shit on it. And I'm assuming you are as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I put the poll out there, and definitely not shit came in at 63%.
Nice.
Touching Cloth came in at 19%. And shit came in at 18%. That's higher than I thought it was going to be for people disliking it.
To be fair, I remember the 35mm Heroes review of it, and Jordan and Noel were not impressed at all, and I was the one beating the drum. So
fair play.
Some people don't like it.
Yeah, well, Some people. Cool. Right. So 4 years after the previous Jack Reacher movie, Jack Reacher is back, but he will never go back apparently. But he is back. Which, Jack Reacher never go back, but he's back. I don't get it either. Okay. But do you know who's not back? Do you know who's not back? Christopher McQuarrie's not back. No, he's not back. Instead, we have Edward Zwick, director of About Last Night, Legends of the Fall, The Last Samurai, Blood Diamond, Love and Other Drugs, to name just a few, is back for the action movie Jack Reacher. Which is a really strange person to be writing and directing this movie. Also, in there is Kobe Smulders, Aldous Hodge, Hawk McCartney, Robert Nepper, and a few kind of other people who you kind of recognise. I think one of them's from Game of Thrones or something. And this time, Jack Reacher comes back again to go on a date, it would seem, with Kobe Smulders, Major Turner. He travels to Washington to go on a date after they've met up. We don't get the details of why they were first introduced to each other, but they kind of were, but you're guessing it's over correspondence rather than the phone, because he seems surprised when she's a woman. Not put off, but just a little bit surprised. And then we get the idea that they've spoken a little bit on the phone, and there's a little bit of flirting, and so he's going to meet her for a date. Now, literally, that is what's happening. I'm not being flippant. He's going to meet her to take her to dinner. And then when he gets there, you know what? She's been arrested for espionage, but he thinks there's something a little bit not quite there, because, he's Jack Reacher. Also, as well, he might have a kid that he doesn't know about. Ian, Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. What did you think?
Yeah.
And what I'll say is, a message that you sent on the WhatsApp thing caused me to count something that I never thought I would have to count in a fucking movie.
Alright, well, let's address that elephant in the room first. So, I messaged Mark after leaving Jack Reacher Never Go Back, saying that my favourite thing about it was the fact that Tom Cruise... There are a couple of scenes where Tom Cruise and Kobe Smulders are running.
Do you know how many there are?
Sorry?
Do you know how many there are?
Go on.
6.
Fair enough. And in at least 2 of those, I noticed that Kobe Smulders starts in front of him, and then Tom Cruise has to ever so slightly get past her by the time the shot cuts.
Do you know what the final scores were in Kobe Smulders?
Yes, go on.
Versus Tom Cruise thing? Because I counted it, and I genuinely promise you I did. Do you know what the score was? I was quite surprised by this.
Go on.
It's 3-3. It's dead equal. There are 6.
What, do you think they did that on purpose?
I mean, I kind of do now. Yeah. In three, she wins, and in 3, he wins. And at one point, she's 3-1 up. At one point.
Do you know
and I'm
what?
watching, thinking, I cannot believe I am counting these things.
No, but I'm glad you did, though, because, alright, this, I don't know, I mean, this film basically has Tom Cruise meet slightly more officious female Tom Cruise.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that.
I mean, I don't know, it is kind of almost a dead heat, really, and then there you go, you say it. I mean, I think, to be honest, if I didn't watch the first one, if I didn't finish the first one a couple hours before going to see this one, I think I maybe would have had a better time with it, but as I was saying with the first one, that film is so singular and its own beast that you've got this, and it just feels like quite a generic action film, but with emotional beats that you don't really want. Because, I mean, all spoilers all the time.
Yeah.
You know he's not going to end up going off with Kobe Smulders, and that's not going to be his kid. Because the whole raison d'etre of Jack Reacher is he's on his own wandering from place to place. So it would be fucking weird if he actually had a stable, actual human connection that he had to keep up.
Yeah.
So, I right from the start, that's not his kid.
Yeah.
Right from the start, and
because if it was, he'd know about it.
Quite.
Because he's Jack Reacher.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He remembers every woman he slept with. You know what I mean? So it's like he catches their names, he remembers them. So it's just that there's no way, and there's nothing. Despite the fact that his character seems to hang out in these dive bars and stuff, there is nothing that makes you believe that you would fuck a woman and just forget her.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like that kind of guy, even though he hangs around in that kind of guy places, which again is the little bit having its cake and eating it nature of the character for me. It's quite an unremarkable film, but it's not terrible. It's aggressively, yeah. I'm intrigued to see what you think, frankly.
I was quite disappointed, to be honest, because I enjoyed the first one so much. And I was already a little bit worried about this, because it was a 12 rather than a 15. Incidentally, I do think this should have been a 15. I think the thing that keeps it up from being a 15 is the language, but I do think that the violence within it warranted a 15, to be honest.
It's pretty nasty at points, isn't it? Yeah, fair.
There's a lot of breaking of things, and it's a little bit like, hang on a minute. So if when he punches a guy in the face, blood splurts out, that's a 15. But he can bend a guy's head back over his knee and punch him in the throat to kill him, and then casually flip him off a building. That's a 12A. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because he didn't bleed. It's a little bit like, I know that the BBFC have, and I'm not blaming them, but I kind of am, actually. I have this sort of, this level of things that they state, well, this makes it a 15, this what is it? You need to kind of, at points, go, maybe actually, yeah, that's a little bit. Because what's happening is soon, you're just going to be able to rip a guy's head off, and it's just going to be alright in a 12.
As long as there's no blood.
As long as there's no blood. And maybe someone smiles a little bit as they're doing it. But yeah, it did feel like a thing. But yeah, it does feel really generic. And the thing is, the weird thing about it is, Cruise has been doing this for nearly 30 years. This type of role and this type of character. He's been doing it for nearly 30 years, and he's good at it. And the film is entertaining when he's there. Colby Smulders is fine for the majority of it. She's good in the action scenes. She's clearly a very professional actress in the fact that she's choreographed herself well, and she does those very well. The bits where she's trying to act tough are the bits that are kind of where you go, oh, this is almost painful to watch, because her thing of acting tough seems to be going really tense and breathing through her nose. Seemed to be it a few times, and it was a bit like, don't do that, because you when you're fighting, you look badass as fuck. But then when you're just trying to act tough to people, you look like a person who's just trying to act tough to people. And you're not that character. Your character is established as just being fucking tough.
Yeah. Which
is fine. And I like that you're just fucking tough. So stop just trying to act tough. So are you just not very good at acting tough? Is it? And it just... The thing is, there's a scene in it where I kind of went, there's no need for this to be here. And it's a scene where they're in a hotel, and we'll get to the daughter bit in a fucking minute. They got to a hotel, and Tom Cruise says, "All right, I'm going to go and try and find out some information about this guy." And Colby Smulders' response is, "Oh, why? Because I can't go because I'm a woman." And I just thought, oh no, you've gone there. You've made an issue of something you didn't need to make an issue of. Because it wasn't there. He already seems to have a kind of a respect for you as a major.
Yeah.
I don't get why the film has raised this up. And then you're kind of thinking, as you're watching it going, I think he's saying he'll go because that's kind of what he does. It's kind of his thing.
Would it not have been more interesting if they didn't bring that up? If it was just, she's a badass, and I understand the whole, I've had this all throughout my career thing, and that is absolutely fair enough. But
it is, but I don't think it has any place in this movie.
Why not just leave it unspoken? Would that not be a more powerful statement than having to have the conversation?
Yeah, and then you get the bit where he tries to apologise, where he says, "Look, I'm sorry, but it's actually nothing to do with you being a woman. It's just because this is how I do. I'm just used to working alone. This is what I do, and you don't. I'm used to not being seen. It's what I do." And it felt a little bit like Edwardswick wanted to raise that. And it just didn't need to be raised. But there's a bigger fucking elephant in the room that didn't need to be there in the shape of his fucking daughter, who was just terrible. And anytime there was the bit where you think they're dropping off at the school, and you think, oh, thank fuck she's gone, and yes, we're going to see her a couple more times, and then she's getting back in the car, and you're going, no, please don't. Oh god. Oh, she's in it for the rest of the film. And she's just no. She didn't need to be there. She adds literally nothing to the story at all.
Yep. No, she's, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think the performance was that bad. It's the typical having to play.
To be honest, I thought as a performance, I thought she was crap.
Fair enough. I don't know. It's a teen role where she has to be snarky and over the course of it expose her vulnerability. It was just...
But did it feel a little bit like somebody writing a role for a teen that thinks that's the way a teenage girl acts, rather than it actually being, what is it? That is a teenage girl written by a mid-60s guy.
Oh no, totally, yeah. I didn't think she was that bad within that.
She might be a perfectly decent actress, but the role, I think, was there could be a large part of it. It could just be the role. Yeah.
I don't know. It just, what did her character actually make in terms of difference to the story, apart from she gets kidnapped at the end? Does she actually, in terms of emotional arc, not really? They have a hug at the end, but whatever. She's there. She doesn't really do anything. The story is already busy enough.
Also, there's a lot in this movie where people just seem to help them. And it happens a little bit in the first one as well.
Oh, mate.
People just seem to help him.
No, oh, God, no, I have to, no, I mean, because this is in the trailer for the first one as well.
The cap.
Yeah, I mean, right, no, okay. Americans are always painted on screen as being, we're going to support the services, we support the armed forces, we support the police, blah, blah, blah. This guy is blatantly being chased by police, who knows what the fuck for, and because it's Tom Cruise, we'll help you out, bud.
Tom Cruise hides from the police by putting a cap on.
I mean, because they have that moment in the trailer as well, and it's just...
Whereas in this one, what it is, there's a magnificent moment in this one where he gives over his ID at an airport. The guy looks at it and goes, clocks it and goes, well, clearly that's not you. Doesn't say anything, but looks at him with this, are you kidding me? And Tom Cruise, I promise you people who are listening, Tom Cruise looks at him, makes a little bit of an almost smirk face and nods, and the guy goes, yes. I feel like, right, next time I go on holiday, taking somebody else's passport, right, handing it over to them when they go, that's not you, just sort of nodding and going, and then they go, no, this isn't you, go, yeah, but I'm nodding. Yeah, look, this is the nod. You have to let me on now. I've seen this. I saw this in Jack Reacher, never go back. This works.
Again, it's a little, is this the world that Cruise lives in?
Yeah, and there are little bits of moments like that. Like, if two people, one of them wearing a military outfit and are covered in blood and sweaty, get into your cab and go, is there an internet cafe around? For a start off, there's two answers to that question. One, no, of course there fucking isn't. It's 2016. Two, get the fuck out of my cab.
To be fair, she does say, are there any internet cafes left in this area?
Yeah, but the answer to that is, I still maintain, is no.
No, sure,
and also,
sure.
are you a fan of the Met? Oh, yeah. All lifelong. Next scene, wearing his cap for no reason.
Yeah. I don't know. The story is less interesting.
Also, in your mind, you know when they're saying open up that crate.
Yeah.
Were you in your mind screaming, is anybody going to check the fucking crates? Because they could be false. It could be underneath them, or inside them, or anything. But it's just like, well, clearly I was wrong.
Well, I was just thinking, he knows they're coming, so we know, at least at the start, that there's not going to be nothing in there. I mean, I was just thinking, alright, well, I know there's only about 15 minutes left of this film, so they're not going to do a whole, they were wrong, okay, they're going to, have one last hurrah kind of thing. You know that's not going to happen.
It's a disappointment, to be honest. I was really looking forward to it, and I do think that it's because the filmmakers making a film completely out of his comfort. He's not. I just don't think that Edward Rick was built for that type of movie, and I think it showed in some of the weird kind of choices. And the script was bad. There was sort of moments in the script where it was just, I can't remember it off the top of my head because they were that bad I've forgotten them. Where I just went, oh god, that just felt a little bit wrong and icky.
Sure.
So I was really disappointed, but then it is still a Tom Cruise action thriller, and there's entertaining bits in there. Colby Smulders breaking someone's neck with a hose pipe was quite fun.
True that.
So yeah. Anything else to say on Jack Reacher 2?
I've got nothing, man. It's just. I'm surprised it was.
What are you?
I'm surprised it was made. I'm assuming there won't be another one. I don't know. It kind of. It's just the fact that it was a passion project. It feels weird that this is the film that we got. But maybe it was just like, right, we've got a budget, we've got a release date. These are pretty much the only circumstances this is actually going to happen. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I am the most mild-mannered, definitely not shit you could ever be.
I'm a touching cloth. In the fact is that I enjoyed bits of it, but I do think it's probably closer to shit for me than it is to definitely not shit.
Fair enough. I don't know. I saw it on a Friday night. You know, I was in the mood for it. It was all right. And I mean, I'm just thinking, if I hadn't watched the first one first and then watched this, I think I would have enjoyed it more.
Cool. Right, our audience was definitely not shit, 38%. Touching cloth, 25%, and shit, 37%.
Yeah, okay,
so that is very mixed. You know, it's kind of, you know, that's virtually as close as you can get to everyone's kind of equal.
Yeah.
So go on in. What else have you been watching this joyous week?
Okay, so I watched a few things. So I watched the Christopher Guest film that premiered on Netflix about a week and a half ago, Mascots.
Oh, yes.
So this is, again, a mockumentary, which concerns itself with the World Championships of Mascots, and it sees a variety of mascots from around the world competing for some trophy. So, Chris O'Dowd in a relatively small role. Tom Bennett, who was very good in a kind of playing Ricky Gervais, but actually quite sympathetic role in Love and Friendship earlier this year. He's in this as playing Ricky Gervais but more sympathetic in this, and I liked him. You've also got Parker Posey, Fred Willard, Christopher Guest actually turns up himself. Jennifer Coolidge is in a scene. It's the kind of the usual gang, really, but also the tall guy from Silicon Valley, Zach Woods, I think the actor's name is. And didn't laugh all that much. It throws a lot of plot balls up in the air and barely tries to catch any. It feels like an assemblage of deleted material that has been worked. It feels like Wake Up Ron Burgundy. Where
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. It's kind of outtakes that feel like they've been retrofitted into a story. And there's a couple funny moments in it, but it's interesting. It kind of feels like a Christopher Guest mockumentary premiering on Netflix. If that was 5 years ago, it kind of feels like it would have been a bit of an event. This kind of feels like nothing. Like that true...
It happened. People are going to watch it in the first few weeks, and then no one's going to watch it again.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, it feels like that Kevin James True Confessions of an International Hitman or whatever the fuck is getting more like notice over at Netflix. But so I don't know, it was disappointing, frankly. And I'm not the biggest fan of these Christopher Guest mockumentaries anyway. So yeah, I was still a bit fine. That was that then. So yeah. So the streaming service Shudder launched in the UK this week, and I watched one of the films that I believe is playing on there now. I don't think I'm under embargo on this anymore. Hang on, I just want to make sure, actually. I think it was the day that Shudder launched next Thursday. Last Thursday, even. Hang on. Is my review live? That'll be one way of knowing. Sorry about this. Right, if Ivan's put the review up on Vodzilla, then I know I'm good to go. Hang about. Right. I'm just going to look up me on Vodzilla. No, he hasn't put it up yet. Right, fuck. Maybe I'm not allowed to talk about it. What the fuck? Shit. Hang on. I'm going to have a look at my emails. I'm so sorry, Mark. God, fucking embargoes.
They are a peculiar thing.
Like, literally, they were really, really specific about it as well. That's being released on Shudder on Thursday when the site launches. There's an embargo on that film and date FYI. Right, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to check with Ivan before I put this episode up.
Yes,
so
fair enough.
If you hear me suddenly skip to the next film, that's why.
Yeah.
So this film, We Go On, it's called, which is directed by a team that did a film a few years back called Yellow Brick Road. Which I haven't seen. But so basically, the story is there's this guy played by this actor Clark Freeman, who I don't remember seeing in anything before. But basically, he was in Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2.
Of course he was.
He was in Yellow Brick Road. He was in 2 episodes of NCIS Los Angeles. Bless him, he is a barely jobbing actor. He was a park ranger in 1 episode of Parks and Recreation. Alright, well, I think he's quite good in this. So, basically, he plays a guy who is he's an agoraphobic, he's an everything-ophobic, basically. He has a job kind of editing videos, but it's like a home job. and he's scared to death of dying. And he gets some money from like an aunt dying or something like that, and he basically puts an ad in a paper saying, "I will give $30,000 to whoever can prove to me that there is life after death." And he basically gets free calls or emails and whatnot that he's interested in, and he checks them all out. And wouldn't you know it, it turns out that in the one particular thing, there is life after death. And after an encounter, he soon becomes haunted by a ghost. So, have you seen that Mike Flanagan film, Absentia?
Yeah.
You know the whole kind of like Los Angeles, clear blue skies, but almost quite like sparse, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people around.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, or like LA lonely atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's this film.
Just that.
Well, the thing is, you don't see that all that often, and there's a sequence early on that it takes place at night, but after that, pretty much everything is through the day, and yet it still manages to be like quite unnerving at times, which I think there's skill in that, you know. And I mean it does go for some obvious jump scares at points for sure. But it seems to be asking some big questions about, like, what's the point in fearing dying if you barely even live your life because you're so fearful of dying? And the way that we have our own personal relationships with death. It's asking it's posing some big questions here. And the ending it is more emotional than it is action beats, and maybe that's just like pure budgetary reasons, but in a way, I mean, I'm not comparing this film to Jaws in any way other than this, but the way that Jaws, the kind of like the tension arose partly from the budget not being able to have anything big, you know, it's that kind of thing here, and the ghost that haunts this guy, his relationship with the ghost, I will say, it's not sexual or anything like that, but it's, you know, it is just a relationship, is kind of interesting, and the way that he grows to live with it to an extent is actually really interesting. And it's also got a really, really good supporting performance by Annette O'Toole, who plays the guy's mum. And she basically, like the first half of the film where he's calling around these places to check out their life after death evidence, it's her basically chewing these people out for wasting her son's time. And it is quite entertaining. And she's not the typical mum character. She actually like chucks herself in. But obviously still really just wants to look after her son, and it's a more interesting character than you expect from this kind of stuff. So, you know, if it played Fright Fest, I think it would be quite an interesting during the day entry. Like, there's nothing in it that massively stands out. There's no big like gore moments that would make the audience go, oh. But it's one of those ones that I think you would maybe get people bringing up in the pub after and having quite a decent chat about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I actually quite liked it. It's called We Go On. If you're hearing this, it's on Shudder, or will be on Shudder, but I'm allowed to talk about it, and I recommend it.
Good.
Oh, and it's like 80 minutes. Okay, it's 90 minutes long, but it's like 85 minutes before credits, so there you go. So that's good. And my last one, because we talked about Jack Reacher, obviously, is Trolls. So I watched Trolls. It is the first film that Lottie has ever sat in the cinema and watched the whole thing of. which was quite a big moment, I think. And I watched Trolls. So I gave her the trailer for Storks, and I gave her the trailer for Trolls. I was like, which one of these do you want to see? Please be Storks. Please be Storks. Please be Storks. Please be Storks. Trolls. I want to see Trolls. You don't want to see Storks? No, we go watch that next week. I want to see Trolls. I was like, oh, fuck. Alright. So, took her to see Trolls. And I didn't mind it.
Is it alright?
Yeah. I thought it was alright. The thing, like, visually, I think it's actually really interesting because there's a running. God, the story. Okay, Poppy, voiced by Anna Kendrick, is a troll who they've hidden from these bad guys called the Bergens, I think they're called, or Bergens.
Bergens, yeah.
And they've run away, but because of their partying really loudly, they alert one of the Bergens to their location, and the Bergen comes and steals a load of them. Then the Poppy has to team up with Branch, who's this grey troll voiced by Justin Timberlake, and they have a chalk and cheese relationship, and they have to go and save the trolls. So Poppy makes these kind of like scrapbooks and like pop-up things, and she's really positive. And part of like the kind of like the voiceover storytelling stuff is told in this pop-up book way, where everything looks like fabric. And then the characters almost look like they've got like string coming off of them, and it all feels fabricy, the whole thing. And I thought that was quite interesting. And it's almost like you expect things to be held up by string. And I don't know, it had like a weirdly childlike homemade feel to the CG animation, which I quite liked. There's also the requisite jokes for adults. There was one that one of the guys in work, he took his kid to see it last weekend and he recommended it to me. And there was a particular joke, and I've forgotten it now, but it was a riff on orgasms, but in Trolls, which I thought was quite funny. The thing is, as you know, my baseline of humour is shit. Sometimes it doesn't take much to make me laugh. So, a little troll with a deep voice made me laugh. A little troll going, "Oh my god," made me laugh.
Fair enough.
You know, so there you go. But it's bright. It's it's really colourful. Lottie got scared on a couple of moments and said she wanted to go home, but then I was like, well, there might be some more singing soon. I'm sure everybody's going to be really happy. Then, she was all right. So I quite liked it. The songs were decent. There's some weird, considering it's a DreamWorks film aimed at a youth certificate audience, the fact that they have quite a large moment involving the sound of silence, like trolls and insects singing the sound of silence, but almost reworking it into quite a happy tune, was fun. So, yeah, there's quite a lot of disco in there, and for kids, I think it will work quite well. I was quite charmed by it. Didn't make a lick of sense, obviously, but I don't think these things have to. It is what it is, but for what it was alright.
Fair enough.
I liked it more than Jack Reacher Never Go Back.
I bet you didn't think you were going to be saying that, did you?
No. I want to see Storks, man. I want to fucking see Storks. That trailer makes me laugh as well.
I've not actually watched the trailer for Storks, but yeah, it's by Nicholas Stoller, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's directed by
Nicholas Stoller, yeah.
Nicholas Stoller, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, if we weren't away next weekend, I would probably take her to see Storks next week. I think that one will be on, like, a kids couple quid ticket thing round Christmas, so I'll probably take her to see it then.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
But yeah, Trolls, alright. I bought her a troll after. A £20 talking troll.
Fucking hell. So you've contributed quite significantly to the Trolls thing then?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a good memento of the first film she actually sat through at the cinema.
That's a big thing, isn't it, with them, because at least now you know that something's going to be able to keep her entertained for that long.
Yeah, I mean, like, Christ, we went to see Finding Dory again last week. Like, cheap kids club one. She lasted 45 minutes. You know, she keeps on saying about how much she likes Finding Dory. No, you don't. I've taken you to see it twice now. You fucking walk out halfway through. So, Pixar, Trolls, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kids, man. Kids are fucking weird.
Yes, they are.
I'll tell you what she was doing today. So I was looking after her for the day today. We were running around in Cardiff city centre playing tag. And then she wanted to play cuddling instead. Where instead of, like, going tag, you're it was chasing the other one to cuddle them. Which is one of the cutest things I've ever experienced in my entire life. But I am so glad I look like her.
Yeah, fair enough on that one.
You know what I mean, though? Like, because, like, she was, like, properly coming for me and then cuddling me, and I had to run at her and then cuddle her.
And cuddle her.
And, you know, like, if you were out, like, not me, watching a man chasing a 2-year-old, running away from the man, and then him picking her up and cuddling her, there's probably a second where you're going to think, that's not her dad.
That's a little bit peculiar.
Yeah, but, hey, Trolls. I'm very intrigued to see this random bunch of stuff you watched this week, man. Go ahead.
Well, it's not random. It's two films that kind of that are connected, but the way I watched them, or the reason why I watched one of them is quite peculiar. Right. Now, sometimes when I'm looking for a film, I'll look at... I'm looking to watch a film. I'll have an idea of what type of film I want to watch. And it'll be something related to something I've previously watched. So I'll check out on iTunes or on IMDb the links to, other films like this. So I want to watch something a little bit like X. So you go in and look at that, and then you look through the other ones. And a film that kept cropping up was US Marshals. And I kept thinking, I won't mind watching US Marshals. It keeps cropping up in other films that I've watched. You might like this. But I can't watch US Marshals because it's a sequel to The Fugitive. And I need to rewatch The Fugitive before I watch US Marshals. So I kept waiting for The Fugitive to crop up on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Sky or anything like that, so I could watch The Fugitive. So they could then watch US Marshals. And in the end, I decided the other day I really wanted to watch US Marshals. So I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to have to buy The Fugitive on iTunes and watch that. So I can watch that, so I can watch US Marshals. So that's what I did. I sort of got The Fugitive, and it was only $4.99 actually on iTunes, which I was quite glad about, because I expected to pay about $7.99 for it. So yeah, I paid and bought The Fugitive, which I don't think I need to tell anybody about what The Fugitive's about. It's the Harrison Ford movie where his wife is murdered and he is tried for it and convicted of it, and then escapes and he's on the run, and Tommy Lee Jones is tracking him down. So yeah, we watched The Fugitive, and it's fantastic. It's a great film. It's a really good, solid action thriller, which I think is kind of a little bit. The film's 20 odd years old. I think 93. I think it was 25 years old, and it was really successful at the time. We really, made a lot of money. Really well received. Really well, reviewed, etc. Audiences loved it, and it's kind of now pitched as The Fugitive. It's a really good movie, But I think because it's a really good movie and because everybody kind of universally likes it, is why we don't go back and look at it as often as some movies, because it's not a movie that splits opinion. It is just considered to be a 4/5 out of 5 movie. A little bit like kind of like Seven. That's why Seven always kind of seems to get forgotten about a little bit in the Fincher universe, because it's perceived so universally as being a really good movie. And then I was watching it going, this is a really fucking good movie. And it is. But it's the first time I've watched it in maybe 20 years. And I just kept wondering, why is this the first time I've rewatched this in 20 years when it's this good? And then that obviously led me to the following night to going and sitting down and watching US Marshals, which is a film I'd never seen. And to be honest, until recently, I'd never twigged that it was a sequel to The Fugitive, in the sense that it's the same character Tommy Lee Jones plays, and it's his crew are back again as well. And in this, again, he's hunting down a criminal played by Wesley Snipes, who is also a fugitive, who may or may not be guilty. And so he's hunting him down in that. Have you ever seen US Marshals?
Yeah, back in the day, but yeah.
Yeah, see, I'd not. I was quite delighted to see Tommy Lee Jones dressed in a chicken suit.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, so you fucking should. So there's a bit, right, where it's clear, that bad guys are doing things, and they get out of the car and go into a house.
So it's clear that bad guys are doing things.
Yes,
okay.
Bad guys are doing
I just
things.
wanted to check.
And there's a chicken who's kind of handing out sample bits of chicken outside this chicken, what is it? Who clearly is doing it in the most unenthusiastic way, so he just doesn't give a shit. And then somebody comes up to get one of these sample bits of this fried chicken that he's got, and is going to get it, and he just drops the tray and starts walking across, and you're thinking, who's this guy? And then he pulls out, but he's still dressed fully like a chicken, but a chicken wearing a t-shirt that advertises this chicken company. And then he pulls out a gun, and then he takes off the chicken head, and it's Tommy Lee Jones. But then he does this raid still in the rest of the chicken outfit. And it's really fucking weird watching Tommy Lee Jones doing this. In this chicken outfit, which is really fucking peculiar. So you get Tommy Lee Jones in a chicken outfit. And the problem with US Marshals is it's essentially the same story as The Fugitive, really, when you boil it all down. But it's just nowhere near as entertaining at all as The Fugitive. And it's not bad, it's just not as good. And it's really baggy in the middle. It's the same length as well, it's just over 2 hours long. But it doesn't have any of that, the zippiness or the real kind of beat of The Fugitive. So I bought The Fugitive, watched The Fugitive, and really enjoyed it. But the only reason why I watched it was so that I could watch US Marshals, which I didn't enjoy anywhere near as much.
I've never seen The Fugitive. I've seen.
Have you not?
No, it's a bit of a blind spot that. I have fucking seen US Marshals, but not The Fugitive. How does that even make sense?
It doesn't make sense. No. Honestly, $4.99 for Fugitive on iTunes is a solid purchase.
No.
Because it is just a good film. It's fun. It's Harrison Ford. What else did I watch? I also watched The Big Short, rewatched that. Liked it a lot more the second time, and I really liked it the first time. But I think because the second time you're watching it, you know what you're going in to watch. You know that it's not necessarily a straight movie. That it's got all of these bits being thrown around and everything like that. So you're able to kind of lose yourself into it a little bit easier and you pick out sort of bits. But I still really enjoyed it on a second watch. I watched Unfinished Business.
Did you actually watch the whole thing?
I did. I watched the whole fucking thing. Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, I actually didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I know you did.
Yeah.
Mind it.
Yeah, it's just... the thing is, it didn't offend me or upset me in any way. But I did sort of I turned it off originally halfway through it, and then I came back to it. But I did get about half an hour into it. I did get about half an hour into it and think, I don't see the point in this movie. I don't see why even Vince Vaughn's in it. I definitely don't see why Tom Wilkinson's in it. And Dave Franco is pitching something that is just that lost me. The only amusing thing I found about Dave Franco's character was the fact that they seemed to take amusement in the fact that his name was Mike Pancake.
Solid name. I like the bit with the balls running with the balls.
Yeah, I just.
Why does he hate life?
There's a fucking lot of reasons. This movie is fucking very low down. But yeah,
why do you hate life?
I enjoyed Sienna Miller in it. She was fun. Just playing a complete bitch. But yeah, I was watching sort of like the last half of it just to kind of get it watched, and I was giving it the absolute minimum amount of attention that I could give a film where I could still claim I was watching it. I just didn't see the point in it at all.
I'm very upset with you.
And then finally, I rewatched Frost Nixon. Which I was amazed is actually 8 years old. Didn't feel like a movie that's been out for 8 years.
Yeah, that was Bristol days for me. I could believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was more recent. I also forgot until the credits started rolling that this was as soon as like the Image Argent Entertainment thing came up, I went, fuck, this is a Ron Howard movie, isn't it?
Does that logo come up before any other person's films other than Ron Howard?
Very few. Well, it's his company, isn't it? Of course. But yeah, I'm trying to let's see what other films. A lot in the 90s, but yeah, pretty much just Ron Howard movies now. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, Frost Nixon. It's a strange one, Frost Nixon, because it's all right. And it's ticking along nicely until you get to the last kind of 25 minutes of it. And I think the last 25 minutes where you eventually get to the interview that everyone gives a shit about is really entertaining. It's really well done because you've got, Ron Howard. Ron Howard is a decent director. I don't think he's a fantastic director, but he's certainly I think you could say he's a good director.
Yeah, sure.
He's not a terrible director. It's not, how does this guy keep making movies? You can see why he keeps making movies, and you can see why his movies have consistently been successful for 30 years. And then you've got Michael Sheen and Frank Langella, who are both very good actors. And I think Frank Langella had actually done this, had actually played Nixon on the stage, I think. Anyway, so he was already quite embedded into the character. And that's fantastic, that bouncing forward between them. The problem is the rest of the film's not quite up to that. That it feels a little flat, and it does, the way it's shot, etc., does make it feel at points a little bit TV specially rather than filmy, which I think lets it down a little bit and lets down that particular sequence in the film. But I still very much enjoyed my rewatch of it, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for what I've been watching this week.
I'm just having
so yeah, Twitter questions.
Just having a look to see if Fugitive's available on Amazon Video.
On Prime, it's not.
Nah, fuck yeah, it's not.
Yes, so Twitter questions. Yeah. We have a couple, I believe. Let me just get to them. Virginia Prince, TGP 73. Mummies or werewolves?
Werewolves?
Yeah, werewolves for me. I'd like to see more mummy movies, though. We've got the Tom Cruise mummy movie coming out, haven't we, next year?
Yes, yeah, with Sophia Botella being the mummy. Yeah, yes. That should be interesting.
Yeah, which is going to be interesting. But I'd like to see more mummy movies. But yeah, it's going to be werewolves. in it, really, let's be honest. Steve Dixon at the Greatest D. With Halloween time upon us, what's the best horror movie double bills to get you in the mood? I had fun once doing a double bill of Inside and Martyrs on Halloween. And Halloween 3 are always
Halloween 3
good.
would be solid. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I do most years. I do Halloween and Halloween 3 most years on Halloween. I'll probably do that this year as well, to be honest, because it gives me an excuse to watch Halloween 3, and it feels right watching Halloween on Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched Halloween on Halloween about 5 years in a row at one point.
Do you know what? I don't think I can remember the last year where I haven't watched Halloween on Halloween.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do very, very, very much like Halloween. I'm unsure whether it's a film I could literally watch every single year. But maybe that's...
Yeah, I certainly can. Any more for that?
No. Sorry.
Right. Rick Kidd, at Rick J. Kidd. After Werner Herzog says he should have been a Bond villain, who do you want to see as a Bond villain?
Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog would make a good Bond villain, wouldn't he? Who else? Actually, I'd have liked for in Spectre for Monica Bellucci to have turned out to be a Bond villain in it, rather than just being somebody who Bond fucks and then gets killed.
Yes. Yeah, oh god, yeah. Could you imagine if she came back and it actually turned out that, like, yeah, she was...
She was the mastermind behind it all. It would have been a lot better. And I didn't dislike Spectre. I quite enjoyed it. But that would have been better. I think that would have been... Yeah, it'd have felt right in these times, we'll say. I think there's probably a really obvious one that we're not thinking of. But I would like to have seen Herzog do, or is it? The thing is, Christoph Waltz fit perfectly. Had this been before that, I'd have probably been saying he'd make a good Bond villain. Because they've kind of always got to be, they can't really be American or British. They've got to have a European flair to them, I think, Bond villains. I don't know if for some reason it just feels a bit right with a Bond villain. That air of kind of mystery.
Yeah. No, that's...
And, we've had Mads Mikkelsen, and so, there's another one I would have thrown in there, but we've had him, and he worked well as a Bond villain.
Yeah, they had Matthew Almeric, and he was not great as... Because basically he looked like he couldn't win a fight. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it would be nice to have a villain who's actually physically, like, an actual, like, the Bond villain who is physically imposing. And yeah, Mads Mikkelsen did look like he could take on Daniel Craig, and then weirdly they didn't actually have him have a fist fight at the end. Mikkelsen's, like, basically offed with about 25 minutes to go. Even though, like, where that film ends up, I think is interesting. But
yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it is, like you say, somebody who physically could go up against Bond as being the big bad rather than a henchman.
I don't know. I mean, like, I know we're very much bored of talking about him, but I think Idris Elba would actually be a pretty...
Do you know what? I was thinking, God, do you know what? Elba would work as a Bond villain, actually. He would. Yeah, I'm on board with that one. I think he would, and plus it'd be a great kind of fuck you to all those people who've been saying cast him as Bond for years, even though he's just that little bit too old for Bond, but he's a good age for a Bond villain.
Yeah, I mean, he does look believably like he could kick the living shit out of someone as well, though. That's the thing, and, so yeah, no, absolutely. There we go.
Cool. So, Ian, we are at the end of our show. What are we bringing the wonderful people next week, Ian?
Oh, well, we are... Well, it's going to be interesting. So I think we're recording on Saturday morning. Round Noel's house.
Yep.
Where is the thing with Claire public?
I don't think so.
Fuck, I need to remember to edit that out then.
Yeah.
Alright, I might check with Noel beforehand then, but fuck, I need to remember to edit that out. Alright. I wish there was like a rewind thing you could do and then just not worry about it. So, yeah, we're going to be doing Doctor Strange at Noel's house.
Yep.
Noel and I are also going to talk some Black Mirror. We'll try not to take too long on that because it is TV.
You're just talking this series of Black Mirror, right?
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to try and get a few of them watched then, so I can join and watch them.
I've watched 2 so far. There's a review for the 3rd episode, Shut Up and Dance. My first ever written TV review is on Vodzilla now. I don't recommend that one, but I recommend Playtest. And I've heard good things about Nosedive and San Junipero or something.
Yeah. Bex wants to watch them, so I think I'll watch probably a couple this week.
Yeah, good. Okay, that sounds good. So, yeah, alright, let's end it there. Oh, no, you're running the fucking ship. Sorry, that's very rude.
And we'll also probably have a little bit of drunken review of the John Carpenter gig.
I imagine we'll probably do some sort of recording around that, yeah.
Ad hoc recording. Also as well, if anybody is at the John Carpenter gig in Manchester on Saturday night, then send us a message on Twitter because we'll be around. And we'd love to sort of meet people up for drinks, etc.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Cool. Right, so that was episode 182. We hope you enjoyed it, and we thank you very much for listening. At Dudeforce, at Ian Loring, at Dude and the Monkey, dudeandthemonkey@gmail.com, Dude and the Monkey, the website, switchdudeandthemonkey.com. Also, as well, Ian, did you notice that me and you were in our matchup this week on our fantasy thing?
Oh, shit it off, were we really?
Yeah, it was me against you. Very well for me. Yes, yeah. I won. Yeah.
Is that all you're going to say?
Yeah, but well, yeah, I did. Quite heavily. So yes.
Fine. Yeah.
But I'm still doing terrible in the league. Do you know the annoying thing is? I am 9th in the league, and I've won 4 out of 9 games, right? Yet, I have the 5th highest points total.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Because it's matchups, isn't it? So I scored more points than sort of, I should be, in points, I should be on 5th, but because it's matchups, I'm actually 9th.
Okay, yeah, just in those particular, yeah, alright, fair enough.
Yeah, fucking fuck. You're still ahead of me in our predictions game.
Bloody right I am.
By about, I think, 11 or 12 points now, I think.
Well, that'll do.
Damn right, I'll do. Right. So thank you very much for listening, guys, and we shall speak to you next week when we will probably be slightly more inebriated than we are currently.
Oh, I dread to fucking think.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. David and Monkey on tour.
Bye!
Bye.